welcome to the webinar. We're going to be talking about the simple way to start using SMS messaging without spending a fortune. So, want to always start these things by actually learning more about you guys. So, what I have here is probably a poll that you guys recognize. We did this on our thank you page after you registered, and this is the first question we asked. So we asked you all, how much SMS messaging are you using in your business currently? And this is really cool to see. The majority of you have basically not really started using it at all, which is totally fine. And then there's a number of you also who have used it, but for like smaller use cases like reminders or things like that. And then there's a couple that have dabbled as well. So if this is totally new to you, type 1 in the chat so I can know who here is totally never used SMS before, coming at this totally blank, and we can make sure that we cover from the very basics up. And if you are already using SMS, somewhat familiar, type a 2. 222. Cool. So what I'm seeing in the chat is actually matching up pretty well to this too. So awesome. I know not everyone that actually registers for a webinar actually attends it. So it's always good to actually check with the people who show up so we can make sure we're still on the same page with all those people too. So pretty good split. It's looking like there's a good mix of both. So what I want to do here is start with a little bit of some interaction with the audience here. I know we've been using the chat and stuff, but I want to get a poll going really quickly where you guys can kind of give me some live feedback here. So let's go ahead and launch this. This also makes sure that I can see who's active here. So if you have this on the side and you're doing some other work right now, this is how I can know what percentage of you guys are paying attention. So I have this poll going on right now, and I want to see what your biggest roadblock for using SMS in your business is. And if you're already using it, I'm curious to see like, what would you do to use it more? What's the roadblock to using it more in your business as well? So I'll pull this up here. We're collecting responses. We only have 44% of you voted. All right, we're getting higher. Let's get up to like at least 70. I can usually get to 90. So all the people that have this on the side, come back to your screen. We have a quick poll, and we're going to dive right in. So we have 50%. Let's keep going. There's some more. What's inbound SMS marketing? All right, we're getting some good questions. We'll come back to that. That's a great one. I have an example of inbound SMS marketing that I'll show on this presentation from Frank Kern himself. Cool. All right, awesome. So we got a pretty decent chunk of you now responding. Ron says hard to answer on an iPad. Totally understand. We'll give you guys about 5 more seconds, then I'm going to close the poll. So we're going here in just a second. I think we've got pretty much everyone now. And let's see what the results look like. So let me share these results too. All right, here's how the results came out. So the biggest roadblock seems to be lack of knowledge of how to get it set up, followed by not having time to do it yourself, and then some others that are interested in inbound marketing, but these 3 aren't the main things. If you did type other, go ahead and put that in chat too. I'd love to read those later so that we can see what we can do to help you out as well. So let's go back to the presentation here. So a little bit about me. I am Bryce Christensen. I do the marketing here at Plus This. If you've been on my webinars before, this slide's very familiar. I'm basically an Infusionsoft user is where I kind of got started. But recently I've been playing around with a lot of the other tools too, Drip and HubSpot and Entreport. And I know some of you have already mentioned ActiveCampaign. That's another one we are definitely interested in as well. Anyways, I've been a solo marketer kind of guy for a long time. I come from a lot of the same background that a lot of our users come from. And it's small businesses that have been trying to figure out this whole internet marketing thing maybe not having the most resources to be able to get it done, but you just work through it, right? So that's kind of where I've come. I've been doing this for over 7 years. I've worked a little bit with some bigger businesses when I was first starting, but my passion really is in the small business side of things. And I like animals, so I have some animal pictures too. But enough about me. I just want to give you a little background on Plus This. If you guys are coming to this for the first time, you've never heard of Plus This, I'd be curious to hear that. Type like a 1 in the chat for that as well. If you're totally familiar, type a 2. That way I can just breeze through this. If there are people who already know about Plus This, I don't have to spend a lot of time here. We're gonna get mixed. There's some that are new. So basically, what Plus This is, where I'm working, we're an add-on library for internet marketing automation platforms like Infusionsoft or Entreport, HubSpot. And so what that means is we make a lot of tools that help those platforms do more cool little marketing things. And SMS happens to be one of them. We also do like countdown timers. We sync Facebook ads with it. We do webinar connections like the webinar we're running right now, so we can tag attendees and non-attendees and follow up. We have our SMS and a bunch of other things too. And the way that it's kind of come about is Plus This came from working with some really smart people. Some of our clients early on were Frank Kern, Ryan Dice, Jeff Walker, Marty Smith, a bunch of really intelligent marketers out there that were using the same platforms you're all using and probably feeling the same frustrations you all were having too. And so they were coming to us and ask for like a little bit of a tool that could help them do some more of the things like being able to run their webinars with their platforms that have that connect well, being able to do SMS, being able to put in countdown timers that sync on your web pages, being able to do Facebook syncing, and a whole bunch of other things. And so we started building this library, and it became Plus This, and it's been going for about 5 years. When we first started, there was probably only 5 features. Now there's over 50. So, and it just continues to get that way. So the way that I kind of explain it from a high level is we look at our platforms like Batman. They're really cool and really strong and powerful on their own, right? But Plus This kind of brings on that utility belt. And just to give you a few ideas, these are some of the new features we just released in the last month. We have Contact Creator, which allows you to create contacts for situations like if you're ever running events and you have someone like this guy that comes up, he registers to check in, but he also has these guests that are with him. And you'd like to have those guests also put into your CRM without them having to each individually fill out a form or do something like that. So we created a Contact Creator to help make contacts based off of a single contact and their guests possibly. We also did Add a Calendar, which was something that, how many of you have ever wanted to be able to put these little Add a Calendar links in your email from your platform that you're using and be able to just have that sync up with your custom fields or anything else that are storing those dates? So that's something that we've seen a lot of. So Kevin's putting a thumbs up for that. Oh, it's still showing poll results. Sorry, guys. Let me put it back on the one over here. Sharing screen. Hide results. All right, can you guys see the screen now? Any better? Good, good, good. All right, cool. I'll just go through I'll just show you the slides really quick so you can see where I'm at, but I won't talk through them again. So here's some of the people we worked with. Here's the Batman analogy. Here's Contact Creator. Now we're on Add to Calendar. Should be caught up here a little bit better now. Sorry about that. So Add to Calendar. This is something that this was asked for a lot. People just want to be able to have an easy way to add a link to put something on a calendar like you probably saw for this webinar. And now it's easy for your contacts, your leads to be able to be reminded of events or things that you have going on that come from your own email system. And then the last one I just want to show you that came out last month were these really cool things we make called action links. And this is where if someone goes to your webpage, we can apply a tag in your system based on what they do on your website by clicking a button. So we have like a free trial we offer. They can come after that to pick a campaign they want added. And they'll go to our website. We have a little bit more play room to be able to have people see more information than we could if we were to put it on a form or something inside of an email itself. So it's a really cool option for people. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of what PlusThis is. But today we're focusing on SMS. So we have all these other cool tools, but today we're just going to focus on the SMS side of things that PlusThis offers. So here's what you're going to learn today. We're going to cover the 3 things most businesses want to implement with SMS but don't know how. That appears to be one of the biggest things that you guys also mentioned holding you back, was just the knowledge of how to do these things. Secondly, how we're saving our customers money on SMS by cutting out the middleman. 3, simple use cases you can implement in 2 minutes, or in minutes. And then 4, frequently asked questions. So we get a lot of questions about SMS every day. So we're going to cover those on this webinar too, just so you're aware of the things that are probably going to come up if you're ever looking into this stuff. So that includes things like short codes, mass messaging, what countries are supported, how much does it cost. And then lastly, we're going to quickly cover some simple ninja tricks that will wow your customers without hiring a developer. So does that sound good? Does that cover the things that you guys were looking for in this webinar? Getting a lot of yeses. This is cool. So the webinar is for you if you want to start testing SMS in your business on a small budget, or you want a simple roadmap for what you need to get started with SMS, or you want to be able to send text reminders, text opt-ins, or have two-way SMS automated, or you'd like personalized help getting your first text campaign started, and you want to see use cases from actual customers on how they're getting the most value from SMS in their business. This webinar is not for you though if your target prospects or customers don't use cell phones. I don't think that's most of you guys, but that's a good point. There might be some. You're skeptical of any marketing other than email marketing. And this is something that I found I was doing early on in my career too. It's like, I'm working in a small business. I don't have a budget. I literally was probably working on a $0 budget. Like, we had Infusionsoft and that was it. Go do a free website, do all that stuff. But like, we were frightened to even try other things outside of email marketing. Even though it was a stupid little roadblock we were putting on ourselves. Like, the ROI was there, but we just never tested it early on. And then once we started reaching out of our comfort zone, it made a huge difference in the results we were getting in our business early on. So you're looking for a silver bullet. That's the other thing. Like, this isn't going to cover every single business, every single situation. One thing fits all sizes kind of situations. There are things that could definitely help, but if you're looking for that silver bullet, this probably won't be an exact silver bullet, but it could be a great place to start. So before we begin, I always like to get the questions out of the way that everyone's thinking. So first one, and you guys are amazing because I don't think one of you has asked this yet, but usually someone asks if there's going to be a replay, right? So we are going to have a replay for you guys, so you don't have to worry about taking notes on every little detail here. You're going to be able to just follow along, absorb this stuff, and then come back and watch the replay if you need to watch the nitty-gritty how-to stuff. So we'll just send that out probably tomorrow as soon as I get this recording uploaded. And then what are you selling? So we'll get this out of the way too. At the end of this, we have a free trial of PlusThis if you want to try this stuff. It's free for 30 days. You're welcome to, I know we're not the only SMS provider out there. You're welcome to try other ones too. But we will have a cool little offer at the end. That's not just a free trial, but we're going to throw in some extra cool bonuses for webinar attendees because you guys are taking the time to come out and join us for this. So we really appreciate that. And then another question that a lot of people ask early on in these kind of webinars is, do I need to spend hundreds a month on SMS in order to start using it? And we're going to show you how you can get started with a really small budget. I'll show you what we spent just last month, and it's not even close to $100. So that'll be good if that was a concern of yours or not. And then, is this easy enough for me to do, or will I need to pay a consultant thousands to run SMS in my business? So I'll show you also how to get this going for yourself. You don't have to be super technical at all. And if you want to pay a consultant, you're welcome to do that. We'll show you people you can talk to if this is something that you do want to just delegate and have someone else run for you. But it's also going to be easy enough that you can do it even if you're a solopreneur. And then how hard is it to get started? That I think will be clear too, that it's not going to be super hard for you guys to get started on this if you want to just try it out. So up here, I want to show some of the things we've used SMS messaging for at Plus This. And on the left here, these are some reminders that we've done for webinars in the past. This is a really cool one where we actually use the tool that I'll talk about at the end, where it can merge in someone's name or a custom field from your Infusionsoft or Drip account or whatever you're using. And you can add some personalization to your SMS messages. I played around with another one that you could do it to like a journal or something, but really cool. You can apply this to any kind of image, which was nice. We also do some cool conditional SMS stuff that I'll have you guys actually demo here on the webinar itself to see how it is for yourselves. But I just wanted to also show you, here is our bill from last month. So you can see we did about 100 and something text messages. We weren't super crazy blasting like our entire list or anything. I don't think that's what the real use of SMS comes into. You can certainly do a lot more than we did, but we use it in very targeted situational moments where it makes sense to use it. But our whopping total was about $4.46. So not big spenders here, if that helps put you guys at ease too. And why am I showing you this? I want to show you because we use SMS in our business every month. And we aren't going crazy with it. So you don't have to feel like, hey, can I still see results if I'm not just going full blown on it? Is this something I could try and do as a small part and just get my feet wet and still have some cool results from it? And so, yeah, you totally can do that. And it can cost you as little as $5 for the whole month. So I just want to give you an idea of like what expectations you might be able to have there. And also, yeah, obviously you can see it isn't costing an arm and a leg. So it's not super expensive to try this stuff. So right now, let me know in the chat if this is kind of how you feel currently going into thinking about how to even get started with SMS in your business. If this is you, go ahead and type yes. Nick's saying a lol. Kevin's saying yes. There are a few. Not yet. All right, good. Eric's, you're good. Not super completely overwhelmed. I know, like, if you've never used any of these tools before, you might just be like, I don't even, like, I'm just lost of where to even start, right? Dave says totally. L'Oreal says, Laura Ellie? Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. She says, yes, overwhelmed, for sure. So the goal of my webinar is to help you feel more like this at the end. It might feel like a big fire you have to put out or try. You've all probably experienced these in your businesses. I know I have. But I want to give you the confidence of this guy right here, where you can put out that fire with a little hose. So the first thing I'm going to kind of cover here now is why every business should try SMS. I don't think most of you need convincing. You're here obviously for a webinar because you are interested in doing it, but I'll cover this really quickly anyway, just so you can go back if you have to convince anyone else in your business that, like, yeah, we should try this stuff. You'll have some data to back it up. But basically, you all know that SMS is a lot more effective at getting opened in your business, and also the time to open is super small compared to email. So here you can see open rates are 95%, email is 11%. Then time to open was about 384 minutes for email, and then SMS is about 3 minutes, or yeah, that might even be like seconds. It's so much faster for SMS. And we have the slides here from where this is coming from if you need to go see the sources and everything. The second thing, this comes from Forrester Research, and I really love this because it makes a really cool point. So one thing they found was that when you add mobile into your marketing mix, you are going to increase the response rate of other channels. So on the left here, this is the response rate they were seeing when they were relying on email only, and it was about 6%, right? And that's probably not too far off if you look at your own response rates, right? And then the other one, once they add an SMS messaging with it, they're seeing it increase on their channels to 45%. So adding SMS, I think the reason why this works this way, it just makes sense to me too, is that SMS is a much more conversational platform, right? Like people are so much more used to grabbing a phone, doing a text than trying to type up an email or make even a phone call these days, right? SMS is just a preferred platform. And if we encourage more people to use SMS, then they're conversing that way, they're more likely to also reply on emails and things like that too. The last thing, or the third point here, is the low cost and higher ROI. Here is what it costs for using SMS in the US. I know it's different for other countries, and we'll get to that too in a little bit later on in the presentation. But for the US, you're paying about $1 a month for a phone number and 3/4 of a penny to send or receive a text. So it doesn't cost a lot to get a pretty good higher ROI out of it too. And number 4, your SMS messages can be super highly targeted. You saw when we showed you the bill, we didn't send a ton of messages, but those were all super targeted to very specific situations where it made sense to send a text message. So that's another great thing for it. So then the next part, so that's the whole spiel about why you should use SMS. Does anyone doubt why they should have SMS in their business at this point? I think we're pretty good here. So let's look at what you said you wanted to implement with SMS. So here we're going back to that survey, the poll that we had there earlier too. So there you asked things about reminders for events, webinars, and appointments. That showed up as the main thing. The other thing that showed up next was conditional SMS. So being able to, for example, what we mean by conditional SMS is being able to send a text where you can ask questions like, hey, are you still planning on coming to our consultation at 2 p.m. today? And they can text back yes or no. And based on if they text back yes, they get one text. If they text back no, they get a different one. So that was really popular in the survey that you guys answered there. And then the next one was text to opt-in. So that makes a lot of sense too. Notifications for sales results, those are also something I've seen people use. So that was also brought up. And then we had a few others. And I looked at those this morning too. And there are things like marketing. There was some two-way stuff and things like that. So we'll cover some of those too. But what we found when we break this down, it comes down to 3 things that most people want to be able to implement with SMS. And that's the first one is broadcast SMS, being able to do things like reminders, notifications, that kind of stuff. And the second thing was text opt-in, like you saw there. And the third thing is conditional SMS. That ability to automate your text messaging, but being able to create different paths based on the responses that people send in for their texting. Is that covering most of your use cases? If you have other use cases, feel free to chime in here and I'll be able to get that too. Cool. Yep, so there's the example of that too. Just checking out chat, make sure that everything's going well there. So the first one that you all mentioned here was broadcast SMS. So I want to show you an example of one really quickly here. This is from Brian Keith just recently. He's one of our consultants. He's also a great user of ours. He's talking here on Facebook about how excited he was to set up an SMS notification for one of his clients that would go out to her whenever she got a sale, basically. So she'd get a text that would look something like this, or it would say, hey, Bryce Christensen just bought Soul Power. It has my number merged in and where I'm from, so that his client could go ahead and call and welcome those people after they signed up for it. Obviously, calls and that kind of stuff don't always make sense for every business, but for her business, it was really important to have a quick response and reaction to welcome these people who just joined her group as a Soul Power member. So that was a really cool little use case that he did using some broadcast stuff. And yeah, I've seen some great questions already. I'm going to come back to these questions at the end of this section so we can make sure we cover them. But if you do have questions as I go through this, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll come back to them in a second. This is another thing on Facebook just yesterday too that was really cool to see. Another one of our customers. We're not bribing them to put any of these messages on Facebook. I didn't pay him to do this, but it's really cool when we see it happen. And this is just on his regular little Facebook feed. He says, modern marketing technology is incredible. Just built out a program where text messages are automatically sent to customers based on the pages they visited on the website and what they did on those pages. Pretty cool. So Gerald, I actually reached out to after I saw this so I could get have him maybe send me what he was doing with it so I could show you guys. And at the time of this webinar, I don't have it yet, but I might follow up in after the webinar with what he did for this use case in case this is something you guys would like to see as well. So that's a really cool thing, and it just shows the power of what you can do with these tools too. Being able to target SMS messages based on what people did on your website is pretty awesome. I love it. So I want to show you also like how do you actually set these up in your campaigns? How easy is it for you to do a notification thing like this? Because that was the main thing you guys wanted to be able to do. And so since most of you are on Infusionsoft, I just put a little screenshot here. So for Brian Keith's case, he might have his product purchase tag here or his goal. And then as soon as they finish purchasing, he has like his fulfillment sequence right here. And he just puts in a little notification from an HTTP snippet that we set up with Plus This. So it's a quick little drag and drop. We'll give you a little, we'll give you a URL that you just put in there and you're good to go. And then likewise, if you're on any of the other platforms like Drip or Entreport, you have a thing usually that looks like this, and you can just put in one of the actions to use our Plus This feature to send an SMS message. So super simple. You put it exactly where you want it to happen, and it just goes out. And then the second thing that you all asked about was text to opt-in. So go ahead, and I have a little demo here set up. So if you want, you can text webinar to this number here, and you'll see an example of a text to opt-in from our system. And while we're doing that, I'll go ahead and look at the questions to help answer those as they've come so far. All right, so Carl asks, is the challenge to get phone numbers on opt-ins instead of only emails? So yeah, so a lot of times people might start with just the emails if you haven't implemented in any SMS yet. But one thing you can do on any of your opt-ins going forward is you can go ahead and just put a little phone field in there. And we did that on this webinar too, on the lead pages version of the registration form that we had. And we explained what we were using the texting for. So you guys could use it for examples in here. So we could send you reminders, things like that. So that's a great question. And we haven't really found that to be a big detractor for getting signups either. If you explain what you're using the texting for, usually it's a benefit and not like a problem. So that's a good point actually too. Like you want to look at your text messaging as something that adds value. So I know we get a lot of emails and most of them don't feel like they add any value, right? But texting shouldn't be like that. So another example of what we've used a text to opt-in for on our Facebook ads is we've had an on-demand webinar that we've offered on Facebook through an ad. And for the opt-in there, we've had a place for them to put their phone number for us to be able to text them a link to it. And a lot of people have enjoyed being able to just get that link texted right away, get it quicker. So that's one way we've been able to do it too with that. All right. I would like to notify customers when their order is ready. Oh, awesome. This is a great use case, Jay. We are a screen print and promotional company. So yeah, so just like in the previous example, you can have it so when someone completes the purchase goal, you can have it so you put in your little notification, merge in their order information, and it'll let them know when it's ready. You can also put it in so it times it to be appropriate for when that order is exactly ready too. So that's a really cool use case for it, for sure. Yeah, Sean asks, can we reply to people who text in if they ask a specific question? Yes, and we'll show that here in the next couple examples. Cool. Awesome to go. All right, awesome. So did everyone have a chance to kind of do the text opt-in if they wanted to? And how did that go so far? So I am going to just show you what it looks like here really quickly from a slide point in case you weren't able to do it. But basically, this is what it looks like. When you text in that number, you're going to get a text that looks like this. What's a good email to send you the slides? And this is a really common use case. We see it with a lot of speakers where they want to be able to have the people in the audience text a keyword to a number, and then we start collecting that number and their email and other things. So here, the next thing, this is me responding back to it, Bryce plus this, and then we have it so it asks the next question. Thanks, what's your first name? And you can put that in here. And as I'm putting this in, plus this is storing this into the first name field. So now your contact has a phone number because they texted that in. It has their email that's been stored in the email field from plus this. And it also has their first name stored. So then we finish it up with a quick little message. Thanks, Bryce. Look in your email for the slides and workflows shortly. So when it's done doing this, it also applies a tag in your marketing automation so that it can deliver what it was that they opted in for. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I just will show you the setup here really quickly too. This is what it looks like in plus this. You have a little box where you can put in your message. So this is, for example, that first one. What's a good email address to send you the slides and workflows? And before I go, here's where you can also see the cool little merge field. So if you wanted to put in a name or something there, you just go in there, you can search for first name or email or order number or anything else that you have stored inside of your marketing platform that you want to use in your SMS message. We can make that happen pretty easily. And then the second part of it, and this is the last thing you do basically, is you just set your conditions. So hey, in the email one, if they actually reply with something that actually has legitimate email, so we usually do an @ symbol, we'll apply this tag. And that tag, you just put in your marketing automation to deliver whatever it was that they signed up for. So really simple setup, really cool, easy way to do that. Awesome. So the third thing that we mentioned here were conditional SMS. And so this one's pretty fun. I want you guys to try this one if you haven't yet. Go ahead and text slides to the same number, and you can see what this would look like. So I'll give you guys a second there for that. Meanwhile, I don't see any other new questions. Let's see. Is it possible to have an individual text conversation using your app? So we do text forwarding. So yeah, you can definitely forward the conversation over to your cell phone to do your text conversation stuff if you want to, Kevin. Cool. Awesome. Yes, and then Kevin's also asking about shortcodes. So we'll have things for shortcodes too coming up here in a second too. Good. Awesome. So has everyone had a chance to text this in yet if you wanted to? Just want to make sure I don't move off of the slide before you guys get a chance to do that. Look. Awesome. Cool. So now I'm going to show you an example of a conditional SMS sequence that Frank Kern uses in his business as well. So with Frank Kern's case study, we have he has this a campaign where he's offering a video training. So usually he does a pretty good job with these where they're about an hour long, full of content, lots of goodwill, good training. And so what he does is he offers that as his opt-in, and then he follows that up with a couple of emails that kind of hit on that video. They encourage people to watch it. And they also obviously have some kind of offer that he's given at the end of that too. And then essentially you're going to have people who buy and they end up over in this bucket. You're going to have people who don't buy. So they're going to end up down here. And what he's found is that there's a lot of people that kind of don't really do too much in this area. And so he tested a new little strategy with just the people who respond to this. So they've watched the video, but they didn't end up buying. And he first started by thinking about like, what is the reason that we have people that consume our content or engage with us, but don't end up purchasing? And so what he did here is he realized that why people engage, but they don't buy is usually because they have questions, they need someone to talk to, or they have some concerns they need resolved. So he focused on that in this area of his campaign here. And so what these emails look like is he starts with this. He starts with a subject line like putting in their name, I saw what you did. And he does the smiley face so he's not creepy or freaking people out. But he knows what they're doing because they are able to, he's tracking the videos that people are watching. and he's using pluses to kind of do that. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But so he knows that you've engaged, and he saw what you did, so he's calling that out in the subject line to get them to actually like check out the email. But when you do something like this, you definitely have to explain yourself in like the first sentence of your actual email. So he does that right here in the explanation point, where he says, "It looks like you just checked out product, video, etc., but you didn't take me up on the offer." And so that's actually pretty normal. So he's going to absolve that, and he doesn't want you to really taking it like the wrong way. So he says, that's pretty normal actually. Most people usually have questions they'd like answered before they order. And so now he gives them some instruction. So he says, "That's why I'm available right now to help you personally if you'd like to talk to me. Just text questions to number." And then he has the number that he's using for this thing. And then he's going to reassure him is the next part. So he says, "That's a real number, and it comes straight to my office. I set it up specifically to help folk like you who might have questions they want answered." So this is a whole keyword text to opt-in. So that number will basically trigger off a text opt-in like what you saw before. And then down here, he goes to the explain point again. "When I get your text, I'll text you right back and help you with your questions, or even call you, so that they can know what to expect when they actually text in questions to that number," right? And then he says, "Talk soon. Signing's off. Rick James Esquire. P.S. If you have questions about offer, just text questions to the number." So he's reselling the text instructions there. And he says in the last part, "I'll text you back and help you out. Oh, and if you're one of the first X people to respond, I'll even give you a special surprise." So he's adding an incentive for people to have a conversation with him. And this is another thing, like the first X people who respond, this is another feature that he uses of Plus this called a scarcity trigger to be able to trigger something based on the first number of people to respond to something like this. So this is the email that he uses in that follow-up there. And then you might be wondering, like, okay, what does the text actually look like from that point on? So what he then sends out is something like this. He says, "Hey, he'd say Frank in his situation. What's your name?" You chat in your name, and you say, "Hey, chat, is it all right if I have someone on my team call you at this number to answer your question?" And then they can give a yes or a no, right? So this might be a condition that you would have set up. And likewise, someone might go through this and they might say no. So what he does in the follow-up is basically, if they say yes, they get one kind of message and they get a certain follow-up based on that. And if they say no, he follows up in a whole different way. But it's all based on this. It's text automation. Frank doesn't have the time for himself to do a personal conversation with every one of his people, but it's qualifying them through the automation, and then he's getting their information storing their questions in a field so that he can have someone on his team call them back to resolve it and take care of it. But this is great because it's helping people get immediate satisfaction on like a response to their question. And then you're also being able to capture that and respond back through phone, which normally you probably wouldn't be able to get. So I know someone asked earlier, like, "Hey, I have one of my biggest challenges is getting the phone number." By implementing something like this, you're going to be able to capture their phone number pretty easily too, and you'll capture it for your warmest and hottest leads too. So that's kind of how that works. So yeah, someone just asked right there. Nick just asked the last question: how do you get people to give up their cell number? So the way you get people to give up their cell number is you provide something of value that is worth them giving up their cell number for. So most of the time I see that in like presentations at events, or being able to answer questions like this inside of an email. It kind of works the same way with emails. People have to give up their email for something in return for that as well. So it's all about creating that value and being able to add that in there. So 2 questions you might be asking yourself is, how does Frank Kern know who engaged? And then how does Frank incentivize the first 10 people to text in? So Frank knows who engaged from watching his video using one of our features called video triggers. And so it's something you guys can do too, where you're able to tag people based on how long they watch videos. So Frank has these set up so he can know if you watched his video, if you watched all of it or part of it, and he follows up differently based on that too, which is cool. And the second part for how he incentivizes the first 10 people who respond, this is something called a scarcity trigger, where he's counting a tag. So every time someone responds, he's applying a tag. And then it's less than a certain number, so the first 10, it applies another tag. So that second tag here basically triggers his special bonus to go out to those first 10 people. So pretty cool little feature that you can tie on top of that to incentivize people to give you their number, and then also to be able to trigger something that follows up after that. So that's the use case for the Frank Kern one. Is that pretty cool? Do you guys like that? I'm curious. He said it was interesting in his blog where he talks about this, but he started testing that out for a whole year. He saw it contribute to about $1 million of revenue that he was just missing out on before. And obviously, we're not all Frank Kern. It's not always going to work the same way for us, but it's pretty powerful the way that he's been using it. So that's something I wanted to show you guys there too. And so as I transition to the next thing, we're going to talk about how we're saving our customers money by cutting out the middleman. And so this is really, really cool stuff that I'm about to cover. And it's to give you a little bit of background of how this all kind of works here. On the SMS side, most of the platforms that are providing SMS services for things like Drip or HubSpot or Infusionsoft or Launchport are going to be using an SMS platform called Twilio. So people like us, we are not big enough to go and be like an AT&T or Verizon, establish a huge network for SMS all around the world and be able to serve that, right? So we rely on the people that do those things naturally, and that's Twilio. Twilio is probably the best known one out there, the most reliable SMS platform that does that. And they are known, they're basically the guys that do all the infrastructure, but they don't build the tools to be able to integrate it directly with your Infusionsoft platforms, to be able to do things like text to opt-ins, or to be able to do your notifications, or be able to do conditional SMS. They basically build this for developers to be able to make those cool tools with their platform. And so that's what you're seeing here. It's like you need your developer in order to connect to your platform to be able to make it do the things that you want it to do. And so with Plus This, we use our developers to make cool tools using Twilio's SMS technology to then talk with your platforms that you guys are using for your marketing, right? And then we have you guys, the customers. They're customers of Plus This, and it's kind of like it's working through us as a middleman, right? This is how we first started doing it, because that's just how everyone was doing it when this was first coming around. Years ago when we first started it, we were doing this with just our basic like broadcast SMS for notifications when customers like Frank and Marty Smith and others were like, hey, I just want to be able to simply send out an SMS for a notification or a reminder and things like that. So that is one of the things that we've kind of started out doing. And so the question was, how do you monetize, right? So Twilio, just to give you an example, they charge less than a penny to send or receive a text in the US. And so what a lot of the SMS providers were doing was they would charge a markup on that, right? So they would charge 4 cents a text to the customer in order to use all the features and cool stuff that we developed for it. And so that's how all these businesses in this kind of area started making money, right? But we thought when we started to go branching out on our SMS from not just doing broadcasts, but doing two-way and doing text opt-ins and conditional SMS, that we should probably do something different to kind of differentiate ourselves. And so what we did is, instead of us being having the customer hostage and separate from Twilio, where we own the Twilio number and they use our number that we give them to be able to reach out on their platform, we decided to just cut ourselves out of the whole picture there and make you guys also a customer of Twilio. And I'm going to show you what that looks like, because it's really simple. There's no reason why you guys shouldn't be able to be your own Twilio customers, basically. And so what that meant was, when Twilio charges the less, like 3/4 of a penny for a text, you guys get that bill, but now you don't have any markup from us, right? We don't charge you anything for the text to send or receive. You can send as many as you want. You can send as little as you want. There's no tiers. You have to have this many people in your list or any of that kind of problem to face. You guys directly control that now with being able to access Twilio. And now we just focus on making the cool tools to be able to do the things that the customers want to be able to do in their platforms, for their marketing, for their follow-up, for their customer reach, all that stuff. So we took a risk, and that was a big one because when we did this, we were already making probably a couple $1,000s a month just from the text fees alone. And we immediately lost that as soon as we made this switch over. So we stopped making any money off of the text, even though that's what everyone else was doing, because we thought it would be a better experience for the customer and it would pass on the savings to you guys too. So we know a lot of you have enough platforms that you have to pay a monthly fee for. Having one more of these things is just not fun. So that is something that we did there as well. So then the other thing is that this benefited our customers in more than just pricing. So the customers now own their number and their reputation. So one of the problems that was happening before was when a person like Plustis would have the phone numbers for Twilio, what was happening for a lot of people, not in our situation, but for others too, was that multiple customers would end up having the same number. So you guys couldn't use the same keyword as another customer who was using their same number. Everyone in like California would, for example, use the same 604-110 like phone number for doing their text opt-ins or anything else. And that wasn't really convenient for people. And if you had one customer that was abusing their SMS policy, then that would affect the reputation for everyone else that was using that number. Or we'd have to change it, and that wouldn't be fun for you guys to have to change numbers unexpectedly either. So that totally gets rid of that problem. We also, because you own your own number, you don't have any limits on keywords. You're not subjected to having only 5 keywords and you have to get it approved or anything like that. You can use whatever keywords you want and you don't have to worry about sharing those. And it's also super affordable text rates. So those are all the reasons why we did that. Is that attractive to you guys as a customer? I'm just curious if this is something that you guys would see benefit from using as well. Did we make the right decision? Ron says smart move. All right, cool. I'm glad. No, good. Nick says yes. And Nick, or some other people are asking about the replay. Yeah, some of you came in a little bit later. We are recording this, so you'll have a replay too. So I just want to do a quick recap before we go to the next section. We've talked about the benefits for using SMS. We covered the top use cases for some case studies. And we showed how Plustis is different from other text services. So now I just want to get into some of the frequently asked questions. So first one is my country supported? As some of you, as I saw early on, not all of you are just here in North America. There's some people in Europe. There's some people in Australia. And this is something that we get asked all the time. Dubai, we've had questions from like Estonia. I saw there was someone here as well. So the easiest way to find out if your country is supported is by actually Googling Twilio, SMS, then put in your country. So you might do Twilio, SMS, Estonia. And it'll pop up to a page that looks like this, and it'll show if your country has that and what the pricing and everything looks like for that. So that's what I would do first. If you are in a country that isn't typically known to have SMS, you can double check to see if you do have access to that through Twilio. They support over 150 countries, so there are a lot of countries supported by this platform. It's not everywhere, but it is in most of these ones that we've seen our customers using. So that's the first question we get all the time. The second one is, how quickly does Twilio send my message? So we are able to send through that 10-digit phone number 1 message per second. So that is the speed that Twilio goes for a 10-digit number. If you want, you can send more text more quickly using something called Twilio's Copilot. So this is where if you're anticipating sending a huge blast to a lot of people and you need them all to get it within the same like relative time frame, then you can use Copilot, which is the way that Twilio basically farms out your text message to multiple Twilio numbers. So what we would do in those situations is we've had clients that have like 10 Twilio phone numbers, and then they use Copilot to send the blast out from those 10 numbers, and now it's sending 10 messages a second instead of 1 message per second. So that's a lot of the ways that people get around it. And then what are the rules I need to follow to stay compliant? So each country has specific guidelines for using SMS around the world. I'd recommend you go check that out. They're not super complicated. There's a link here that I have on the slides where you can find out the country-specific SMS guidelines for your country that you're using this in. But they're typically things like get permission before you send it to them. So you can't just go buy phone numbers off the internet and then start texting people, obviously. But you can do things like put on your landing page a place for them to put in their cell phone and tell them what you're going to be texting so that they're aware of it. And they're usually just the things that make obvious sense. Just don't be fishy, right? But if you want the details, this is a great blog to check out. It'll line up what you need to do to be compliant with SMS rules. And then the other question that we get a lot is, what does SMS cost in my country? So this is where most of the time when I get this question, I'm just Googling Twilio, the country SMS pricing, and Twilio has a page for every country they support with their SMS pricing. And I'll just give you some of the pricing here for the most common ones. The US, you've seen this in multiple slides now. It's less than a penny to send or receive a text. Australia, this is what it costs to send, this is what it costs to receive. Again, it's less than a penny, so that's really cool. The UK, this one's a little bit more expensive, unfortunately, but it's 4 cents to send, and then less than a penny to receive. And if you're from another country and it's not showing up here, that's how I would do it. I would go and look at what it is, Google it for your country to see what that costs as well. Yeah, so it looks like Estonia was on there, but it's a little bit more expensive. Yeah, and that's a lot of times, like, some of the countries will be more expensive if they're outside of the bigger ones too. Another question we get is, can I get a short code? Yes, you can get short codes. Twilio supports those as well. They do cost more, so we don't see a lot of small businesses use them. They are, like, I looked up the pricing for the US. They're about $3,000 a quarter in the US. And then let me see if there's another one. Yeah, typically used to text marketing programs to big businesses. So you're used to seeing short codes when you go to like a Taco Bell and they're like, text taco to this short code and we'll send you a coupon, that kind of thing. So short codes are meant for like that mass marketing. They can send out messages much faster than 1 per second when you're using a short code. They also come with that price for it. And typically when small businesses are using a short code, the way that they get around the price is that they end up sharing the short code with multiple businesses. And that's why you'll see you're limited to a certain number of keywords that you're allowed to do. And it's probably more expensive than if you were to use your own 10-digit numbers and other things like that. But if you do need to use a short code, it's possible, and you just have to pay more for it. The other thing is, if you're using a short code, I'd probably recommend you use a service like Mobit. They have a good short code program if you do need to use short codes in your program. But what we found for the most part, even people like Frank Kern that have huge audiences, bigger than I'll probably ever have, is they get away just fine with using the 9-digit ones. And it's very personalized, and it works great for most businesses in the small business area. And then lastly, I have the question that gets brought up all the time about who can I talk to if I want to have someone help me set this stuff up. So we have a page on our website at plusthis.com/partners. And that's where you can find all of our certified PlusThis partners that have gone through, they've shown that they know how to set this stuff up. They're familiar on your platforms. You can search by Infusionsoft users, Drip users, Entreport users, and so on to find people that could help you with your business. If this is something you feel like, yeah, this is cool, I'm not the typical person to go ahead and put in the Infusionsoft stuff or set up these campaigns, then this is a great resource for you there too. So that covers that. So before I go to the next section, I just want to see if there are any other questions in the chat, in the frequently asked questions area that we can go through. Peter, I'm going to write down some of these questions that I'll probably answer offline because it makes more sense for some specific questions. Like Ron, I'll get to yours about Copilot, and Peter, I'll get to yours as well. So I'm writing down your guys' name here. And Peter. Perfect. Awesome. Good. Yeah, Mike asks a great question. Do I need permission to text existing customers? Yes, I would definitely get their permission before you just start texting people, even if you already have gotten their phone number before. If customers are interesting situations, though, Usually I'm thinking about like leads and prospects, cold people that are coming in, but customers might be a little bit different. You can usually put some kind of things in your policy or in your follow-up that, hey, um, when you buy the product, you're going to get a text from us or that kind of thing. We call our customers, so it's totally fine to kind of build that into your process. But if you want to be better safe than sorry, it's good to put some kind of notification inside of your process when they do become a customer, so that they know you will text them, or that's why you're collecting their phone number. All right, and then let's see Jason's question. Oh, yeah, this is a great question. I actually saw this come up a couple times. So in those text to opt-in examples, what if people respond with something that isn't in your conditions, right? So that does happen in certain situations. It's not actually as common as you might think, but we do have a fallback message that we put into plus this that you can totally customize to say whatever you want. But it's typically something that will get texted right back if they put it, if they're trying to troll your message or do something just to be out of the box, to mess around with you, where it can say something like, hey, we didn't get that, can you please respond? And then it'll give them the prompt again, like yes or no, or product A, B, C, whatever you are looking for in those prompts. That has worked 99% of the time. The other thing we do in the fallback situation is you can have it so that you have text forwarding turned on too. So then it can send the text to you and you can follow up with them personally. You don't have to worry about the automation stuff anymore. Cool. Yeah, the slides from that text opt-in also are going to be coming out later. That was just a demo of it. So if people are wondering like, hey, where are the slides for this thing? Those are coming in a little bit later. When I get done with the presentation, we have the replay coming out tomorrow. So good questions, everybody. I'll keep going through those as we get through different sections, but we're almost done here. So this is the last thing I want to show you. It's one of my favorite ninja tricks for SMS. You've probably seen this kind of thing from Frank Kern before. This was just brought up yesterday on one of the Infusionsoft groups I'm in, and they're asking like, hey, how does Frank Kern do this thing? So you might have heard of a tool called Pick Snippets. It lets you merge in names and other information from your marketing platforms into an image. So it makes a super personalized image that you can use in social media or in your like emails. And what I really like to use it in is in SMS. So you can use it for your reminders. You can use it inside of images. You can use it as a thank you after someone purchases a product. You can have a picture of you and say, hey, thank you for buying, Bryce. And it'll have a cool little personalized SMS message that comes from it. It's a really cool little tactic that you can do. It's really easy to set up, and it's a tool that we use all the time called Pick Snippets. So thought I'd just throw that in there too. If you guys want to really impress your customers, look like you have some really cool marketing technology that really isn't that hard to set up too, which is why I really like it. But that's one of my favorite ninja tricks that I just want to kind of throw in there in case some of you guys have already been doing SMS, but you're like, hey, how can I take it to the next level? This is something I highly recommend doing. Seen great conversations come from doing something like this. So if you are looking into that, it's Pick Snippets. I think there's a page if you go to picksnippets.com/plus this where you might give you some kind of deal for that. But that's the way to get that if you do want to do something like that. So the next thing is, how do I get started, right? So this is what it looks like if you're wanting to set up a Twilio account. I know it's boring setup stuff, but I was just going to show you so you know how easy it is just to get started and what that looks like. So if you go to twilio.com, you'll create a new account, ask for this stuff. These questions are not super important, but I have the answers here if you want to just use them. They're more just collecting this to get information on who's signing up for this stuff, but it doesn't affect your actual account or what kind of thing you're setting up there. Then you'll see a little thing to verify that you're human, pretty straightforward. And once you're in, this is what it looks like. And so you're in Twilio, this is your little dashboard you'll have. And the next thing you'll want to do is upgrade to the paid version of it. So your first account with Twilio is free, but you really can't do anything with it. Once you want to actually send text, you have to pay for that, obviously. So when you click the upgrade account, this is what it looks like. You put in a credit card, and then you're going to be able to immediately just start adding account money to that account. And we found even just putting a $20 credit towards it works pretty well. I recommend also keeping this checked so that if you start to fall below $10, it's just going to recharge your balance to another 20. So you always have a balance there to cover the SMS needs that you have there. And then the last part is you're going to see the account settings where you can, this is how Plus this is going to connect to your Twilio account. So you've seen this for a lot of other Infusionsoft things or other platforms too, where you just need an account ID and the authorization token. You'll copy that. Plus this will ask for that when you set up your first SMS feature. Put that in there and you're good to go. Don't ever have to do that again. You'll probably not even look at Twilio again unless you really want to kind of dig into certain numbers or things like that. But from there on out, you're just in Plus this and whatever marketing platform you're using. And you're setting up your SMS and you're good to go. So really cool, easy setup there. So this is good, but isn't everything you were looking to get out of the webinar. So I noticed like when we asked, what are you hoping to get out of the webinar? The main thing that you guys voted for was campaigns that are already built to do the heavy lifting for you. We've done, if we look at this, we talked about the benefits for using SMS. We covered some education there, covered the top use cases for some case studies and the tools to make it easy. We showed how Plus this is different, so we went back into some tools there. We covered some more education with the frequently asked questions, and then we gave you some resources for people to help with the partners. But we didn't cover like, hey, what about these campaigns that are already done? So we could just get this going. So you guys could build these campaigns for yourself. They're not super complicated or anything, or we could just give you the campaigns from our 3 use case examples. So we can give you this setup here for a notification SMS message. You're welcome to change this to be a notification for whatever you want. We can also give you the campaign for a text to opt-in, and we can give you the Frank Kern SMS follow-up campaign that I went through too. So is this stuff that you guys would want if we gave you those campaigns? Would you use them? Type in the chat if this is helpful. All right, Nick says yes. Cool. Yeah, Melanie's saying yes. Awesome. Rick's saying yes. Kevin's saying yes. Carl's saying yes. All right, cool. So here's how you get them. All we ask is that you sign up for the free 30-day trial plus this. Obviously, those campaigns are pretty useless without the tool itself to do it. So it's just a no-brainer. But you can go to plusthis.com/register, or you just go to plusthis.com. You'll see a little button on the top right-hand page. And we're going to have these campaigns available, but we're going to put them on a deadline. So to get the campaigns, you just need to start the free trial by Monday, February 25th. And this is what it'll look like when you sign up. You'll have your little platform. You just put in your information, pretty straightforward. And is anyone on this webinar already a Plus This user? Because usually we have this question asked next. It's like, hey, what if I'm already a user? What do I get? So if you already are a user, we're going to give you the PDF roadmap to basically get this all set up. And we're going to give you a free upgrade to Plus This Premium for 30 days. So that's really special. We have never done that before. So if you guys are already a user, what I need you to do is just email me at bryce@plusthis.com and let me know that, hey, I attended the webinar. I get the bonus that you promised. And we'll get you the PDF roadmap for all this stuff. And we'll also get you upgraded to a premium account, which is pretty cool. The premium account gives you access to chat support, phone support. It puts your support questions in the priority queue. Your features also go to the front of the queue so that you don't have to worry about anything getting delayed or anything like that. So that's a really cool benefit that we're giving our customers for attending this. And most of you probably have already done this, but if you leave a testimonial for Plus This on the Infusionsoft Marketplace, that's really what we're looking for in that email that you send me, is a screenshot of that testimonial. If you haven't done that, go ahead and go to the Marketplace and leave a testimonial, and then we'll send you that as well. Boom. So just recapping here really quick, you know SMS is a proven strategy to get more engagement and conversion in your business. You know some of the most popular use cases you can start implementing. You know you can get started with SMS for an affordable price, and you have campaigns you can have implemented easily with our help. So that's why we created the SMS features that we have. We made it free to try, and we've designed it to increase your deliverability, increase your open rates, get in front of more people who want your content, take out the stress and procrastination, because a lot of us have just, we've known we want to do SMS, but we just haven't done it because we just don't know how, or we have those holdups, right? We designed it to help you increase your ROI and conversions and to make it easy to implement and automate in your business where it makes sense. So if you want to have notifications for sales, use text to opt-ins, create conditional SMS without paying a fortune, this is for you. And here's how we do it. So just, again, sign up for the free 30-day trial. We're going to make it better. We're going to give you those campaigns, the SMS sales notification. You have the deadline until Monday to do it. This is what it looks like when you go to that website, plusthis.com/register. And we, again, just for those uses, I'm going to go through that again. But we're going to keep adding more campaigns. We're getting the text to opt-in one. And then we're doing the Frank Kern one too. So the other thing I want to talk about is that there's a no-risk guarantee. You can set up your SMS campaign and the next 30 days decide Plus This isn't for you and keep your campaigns. We're not going to ask to take them back or anything like that. You guys can keep it. You can go try something else with it, whatever you want to do with that. No questions asked, no shenanigans. And that's the end of my presentation. So hopefully this was helpful for you all. And if you have any questions, I'll be here to hang out for a little bit and answer them here. So if I missed any of your questions before, go ahead and put them in the chat too, and I'll be able to see them at the bottom here. Yeah, so Kevin asked if, does it cost to be a partner? I'm a user. So partners are typically, it does cost to be a partner, but that's through like Infusionsoft and Drip and Entrepreneur. I don't know what their partner programs look like, but usually they go through some kind of certification or training with them, and they pay to do that. So I would check with them if you do. But if you're already one of those, it doesn't cost anything to be a partner of ours. We're totally free. We just want to make sure that you guys are partners with those platforms first. Ron says, great webinar. Ron, you had a lot of great questions too. I appreciate that. What is Plus This Premium? So yeah, Ron asked about that. I don't know if I covered it very well yet, but Plus This Premium, standard Plus This is $79 a month, and that gives you access to all the features in the platform. And it's geared towards those people that are like do it yourself, or they just want to start with the cheapest option. So you get email support, you get ticketing support, and the basics like that. Then the next level up is premium. You still have access to the same features as standard, but now we're going to add more support options in there. So now you can have chat support inside of the Plus This app. You're going to have access to phone support. We're going to put your features on a fast pass. So like as you're running features, yours are always going to be at the front of the queue, so they can go as fast as possible. And then you're also going to get access to what are some of the other things I'm trying to think of? Oh, implementation calls too. Sorry, I didn't even mention that. We're going to throw in a free implementation call for people that sign up for this too. So you're not just going to get these campaigns and be like, okay, go figure out how to like actually get this running. You're going to get the campaigns. I'm going to record a video so if you are doing it on your own, you can totally watch the video and see what you need to do to just kind of do the finishing touches. But if you're still wanting to be able to talk to people, we're going to do implementation calls with all of you guys that sign up, so that we can get this running in your business without any kind of delays. So that's cool. But the premium one, that's usually a feature only for premium users too. Melanie Johnson says she'll have to watch the replay to take it all in again. Yeah, thanks, Melanie. I know it's a lot of information that we try to go through pretty quickly. Mike, I'm going to see, let me look into that a little bit more on the questions that you're asking there. Also, if customers can call back, just dial the number. Yeah, so like we have for text forwarding, we also have call forwarding. So if people ever call this number that you're having out there, you can have it so it forwards to an actual phone number too, so you guys can actually answer those. But I know you have a question about the phone number, and I'll get back to you on that too. Kevin asks, which businesses benefit the most? What are your top industries for SMS? So great question. I think we're seeing a lot of real estate businesses using it. A lot of information marketers are using it. it's really applicable to a lot of, like, pretty much any business can use it. And even in Frank Kern's example, like when he's talking about it on his own video, um, he says this is something that he's used with a lot of his clients, and he's used it in a lot of his different campaigns, and it's worked on all of his own campaigns and a lot of the other clients, and he has clients across the board. I think you just have to be open-minded and creative to like how you can use SMS. But for most part, like everyone has customers. You can use SMS for some kind of notifications when you get customers. You can use some kind of notifications to go out to customers when you have that. You can do things with, if you're going out to events, doing those text opt-ins. You can do things for your advertising. When you're advertising certain things, you can say, hey, if you text in this, we're going to give you an even better bonus because we are asking for a phone number. I know that's hard. Emails are a little bit easier to get, but phone numbers are tough. So we're going to add an extra special bonus if you text in for that, that kind of thing. So, but that's a great question, Kevin. Yeah, Melanie asks, is there built-in tracking with that phone number? Yeah, there definitely is. Twilio, so that's the other great thing about Twilio is Twilio has a ton of tracking that you can access when you have your account with that. So you can go into Twilio, you can see all the tracking, what messages have gone out, what's been received, all that through Twilio itself too. Mike says, one of my clients is using a simple version of SMS texting for open house, where someone is passing by and needs more info. Yeah, that's an awesome example for it. Thanks for sharing that, Mike. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so there's still a couple of you guys hanging out here with me, which is awesome. Was I able to cover, at least when I first started with that poll, we asked like, what was the main thing that's holding you back? And most of you were saying lack of knowledge of getting it set up. Some of you said it was too expensive. Hopefully that helps with that, or not having time to set up themselves. Do any of you still have any of those kind of concerns, or did this help answer that? Cool. Yeah, Kevin, voice confirmation, I'm not sure. You asked, what about voice confirmation via Plus This? Is that a feature? I'm not sure what you mean by voice confirmation. Is that like if you're sending voicemails or something? So go ahead and give me a little bit more, and I might be able to help you a little bit better. Sorry about that. Jay asks, is there a way to indicate in Infusionsoft if they can accept text similar to the email marketability? Yes, that's a great question. So Jay, what we usually do is we use a tag for that, or we set a field. So you can just set your own field for text permission and then apply that in there when they fill out the forms for it, or you can have a tag, and that's typically what we've seen. Infusionsoft doesn't have anything built in for that as far as like their native stuff, because they just don't have SMS natively, but you can totally do that, accomplish the same result by just using your own field or tag for that. Cool. Kevin says we did answer those questions. Awesome. Mike says, thanks, we'll sign up for trial. Awesome. Oh, robocalls. Yeah, so Kevin's asking about robocalls. No, we don't do any robocalls. That is a feature that we could look into. Yeah, and that's another thing I want to bring up. If you do have ideas or suggestions for features, we're always adding them. Like you saw at the beginning, we released 3 features last month, so we're going pretty fast now. But we have a user voice at plusthis.uservoice.com. And that's a great place to add suggestions for other features, and people can vote for it. And we look at that all the time to see like what new features we can make. Yeah, and Mike, you asked if you can use Twilio for a voice broadcast. I believe you can. You might just need a little bit of development chops to kind of integrate it with your platform right now. Got it. Yeah, that's helpful, Kevin. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's it for questions. If anyone has any last minute questions, you're welcome to email me. My email is bryce@plusthis.com, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions over the next couple of days. So as far as the the rewards that we're giving out for the free trial. Expect those by like Tuesday of next week. We're going to wait till we get all the people who signed up for the free trial from this till then, and then we'll just get you all included at once at one time. So that's just the expectation for that, so you guys know it's coming. And appreciate everyone for showing up for this webinar. It was really great having you guys. Hope this helps answer all your questions about SMS and kind of gives you a little bit more peace of mind to go ahead and start trying it for yourself. So thanks for coming. Talk to you guys later. Bye.